All right, well, let's get started. Sounds like we've got a couple of questions. Got the regulars in, but we know that a lot of other people come in after we get started. So what's on your mind? Let's start with, I think, David. Did you have a question to get started with? Yeah, I've done some testing earlier on. I think I'm good. That's why I'm wearing these ridiculously large headphones today. Still haven't worked out my audio, so hopefully today will run a little bit better. I know last week I only was able to record myself. I think I've got you guys recorded as well tonight. We'll see. Yeah. First thing you should check is you'll go to iTunes and make sure that in every computer that's relevant to the discussion that you're logged into the proper account. So you need to be logged into your account on, or let's say her account in your iTunes, her account in her iTunes, and her account in maybe sister's iTunes. And then you're going to go to the iTunes preferences and you're going to go to the store preferences. And inside store, you're going to make sure that these items are checked: music, apps, and books. If I have them checked on this computer, they're automatically going to download to this computer, but I have another computer over here that it's not checked on. So those apps are not going to land there automatically. And so in other words, the device asks for the apps, another device doesn't send them to them automatically. And the same is true on your phone. So let me see if I can get this handled here. Go to settings, and you just go to your store, or in iOS 6 it's iTunes and App Store, and then there you need to make sure that you've got music and apps turned on for your device there to ask for it. All right? Yeah, this is in the top three. It's got to be the top three, maybe the top question that I get, and that is, why do I have so many Apple IDs? And Apple IDs are just a nightmare to deal with. So just to kind of go over it real quick, one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is they will create, and this is not a mistake, Apple makes it very easy, and we've talked about this before, to create an Apple ID. So you got an Apple ID with @mac.com, and then sometime you buy a new device and it says create an Apple ID, and then you create a new Apple ID and it's like David@iCloud.com, and then you go get a Gmail address and you forget that you don't want that to have anything to do with it, and you create another Apple ID with the Gmail address. Well, to organize all these things, if you go to appleid.apple.com and you go to manage your ID, you have to log in with the appropriate Apple ID, and then you have the ability to see, well, what email addresses are actually associated to this account. And a big mistake that a lot of people make is they take one Apple ID's email that's already associated with another Apple ID, and they try to merge them. And right now, as far as I know, there is no way to merge Apple IDs. So you can see over here in my Apple ID, which is sales@mac.com, I have Sales at Mac, I've got Sales at Me, I've got Scotty at Sales Consulting, I've got Sales at iCloud. Those are not individual Apple IDs. Those are other emails that are associated to the one Apple ID. And it can get really confusing. But that's a good place to start and to check out and see what other emails are associated. But the main thing is check on the iTunes settings and under preferences in store, and make sure that you have these other items checked. All right? All right, let's go to Daryl. Daryl, what's up tonight? Okay, let's jump over to Joan. Joan, you got anything happening this evening? Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to have any problem doing that, Joan. There are a couple different ways that you could move that data. Yes. Now, let me ask you this. Do you want that MacBook Pro to be identical to the iMac that you're using right now? Oh. Okay. So a couple of things for you to do. First, Joan, you kind of take an inventory of the email accounts that you have set up on your Mac right now. And what I mean by that is if I glance over here, I have two email accounts, an iCloud and a Sales Consulting. All right. Now, if I go to my mail preferences, I can see a little bit more information about that. When that pops up, I've got an iCloud account here and a GoDaddy account. Maybe you have another account like a Gmail account. So you need to kind of think about those 3 email accounts, or how many ever you have. You might only have 1 or 2. Okay, so you're going to add those into your new Mac. So you buy your new computer. First thing you're going to do is go to System Preferences. And when you get to System Preferences, you're going to go to Mail, Contacts, and Calendars. And you're going to add in those 2 accounts. Now, one of them is an iCloud account, most likely. The other one is not. Maybe it's a Yahoo or an AOL or something. But here you can add in those accounts. All right? Next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the iCloud account and add in the iCloud information. That's going to pull all your contacts in your calendar. So you go to iCloud, put in your Joan contact and that email address, and then just basically check all that stuff so that all of that other information pulls over. So what you don't have right now is any music that was over there, any documents that were over on your other machine. So just to kind of touch on that real quickly, a great way to start dealing with this, since you're going to really branch out into multiple computers now, is Dropbox. And it's free, and we've talked about it before, but if you go to Dropbox.com and you download Dropbox, the application, it is a wonderful tool for a person like yourself that has multiple computers now. What it does is it puts a folder in your Finder window. So you download Dropbox, and there's a little video there that you can look about it. It puts a folder here, and it's called Dropbox. Inside that folder, whatever I put in that folder syncs automatically to all my other computers. So you install Dropbox on your iMac, you install Dropbox on your new MacBook Pro, and you even can have Dropbox on your iPad or your iPhone as well. So there's the Dropbox app for that. So there's the Dropbox app for me. That then gives me the ability to see all of my information. So one of the things I keep in my Dropbox is a passwords file. It's a numbers file. Anytime that I need to access that passwords file, I can access it from anywhere. I can also edit it from anywhere. So that keeps you then, Joan, from having to put a flash drive in and put your documents over and move them over. If you have an old document that you want to edit or look at, you just simply take it, drag it, and drop it into Dropbox, and then it shows up in your other computer instantly. All right? So did you buy them through the App Store initially? Okay, so the new Mac that you're going to get, the new MacBook Pro, are you getting one without the optical drive, the CD drive? Okay, so an easy way to solve this, you have a CD drive on your current iMac, you put that CD drive, or you put the CD or the DVD, the install disk, into your iMac. Then on your computer that has no CD drive, you'll go over and you will see in the Finder, you open up a Finder window, and you'll see a little icon on the left-hand side that says Remote Disk, I believe it is, or Disk Sharing. It's going to be on this left-hand side here. When you select that, it's going to give you a list of all the computers in your house that are on your network that are able to share the DVD. So you'll just click, yes, I'd like the iMac, and you'll hit share. Then your iMac will pop up with a question. It's very easy. Your iMac will pop up with a question, hey, MacBook Pro's asking to share this disk. Is that okay? And you hit okay on that, and then you can install on your computer without a disk drive from the computer that has a disk drive. Well, you know what? If you run into problems, you can talk to us next week, and we'll be able to look at it. It won't be too hard. You mean is there a SD card reader slot? Yes. Yes. Yeah, they have them. All right. Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Yes. Yeah, I think you just created that. Yeah, I've got that. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah, no problem at all. All right. We'll see you later. All right, let's go. Let's see. All right. Looks like Joanne. We've got Joanne coming up. Joanne, what's up? Just listening. Hey, thanks for the picture of that beautiful sunset. That was just absolutely gorgeous. Joanne sent me a real beautiful sunset picture up at the lake. Yeah, I like that picture too. Just to kind of show you guys, I've talked about it before. That's my boat right there. That's me. We were in the middle of a race, and so anyway, got another race next weekend. All right, so Joanne, you have anything else happening? Any no questions? All right, let's jump up to Carl. All right, Carl, how are you this evening in South Carolina? Oh, that's great. I appreciate that. Well, thank you. Yeah, 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 right. Well, you can do this. Yeah, I will be happy to. And for anybody listening too, I always tremendously appreciate any reviews that you guys submit. Even if we haven't worked together in a while, I would count us working with Town Hall together. So if you want, go to my website, salesconsulting.com. If you click on the ratings button, over on the right-hand side, there is an ability to let Apple know how I'm doing. You click that, that takes you directly to their website, and then you can put in your Apple ID and then your password, the same one that you use to buy apps and things. You log in and then you can submit a review. So yeah, Carl, I really appreciate that. I'll try to remember to send another one over to you. All right, Carl, did you have any, so you talked to Apple and, oh no, what happened? I didn't hear about this. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. What a beautiful looking boat. Oh my goodness, this just breaks my heart. Ah, wow. I have not heard about that. Well, it's, oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, it's trying to load this video here. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And it's sunk. Mm. Oh man, that's absolutely terrible. Well, man, oh yeah. Gosh, that breaks my heart. I mean, for the people and the boat itself, it's horrible that they lost their lives. What a beautiful boat. Oh man. Yeah, I think that was they may have used that in that Russell Crowe movie. Uh, you guys know the one I'm talking about? Wow, what a beautiful boat. Oh, wow. Oh, I can't believe that boat is lost and those people died. Wow. Yeah, I think about that a lot. Of course, I just have a little small boat, but I would love to be out there right now. Uh, which I mean, they would have had to have had their sails up. I mean, of course, they would have to because they don't have a motor on that boat, I guess. Yeah, it can get. I've been on Lake Norman before where I was pretty nervous. I've not tipped the boat over or anything like that, but yeah, that's a dangerous situation, especially if you're getting yourself. Go ahead, go ahead, David. Well, David, if I ever have a party and invite people to go sailing, you will not be one of them. Let's jump up to Danette. Danette just came in, so Danette, we've got. I think I talked to you earlier. Oh, Danette's on. She's got to get some audio issues worked out. Let's see if we can get her connected. She had some problems where something I think is launching and it won't stop. So hopefully we can get Danette in here. Let me send her a little message here. Let's see. I think we've hit everybody in order. I don't think I've left anybody out. So while we're trying to get Danette connected, anybody want to just jump in with another question or comment? I think we just got Danette in. Danette, can you hear me? All right. Good. So I read your email earlier tonight, and I invited you to come in here this evening to try to solve your problem. So tell us a little bit more about what the problem is. Is it good news or bad news? You should see a request that I just sent for you to for me to be able to share your screen and for me to be able to control your screen. By the way, while she's doing that, I just cooked pumpkin seeds out of my pumpkin for the Halloween. I've got salty here and sweet here. I love doing that. I love doing that. Okay, so Danette, we've got your computer we're looking at. Can you close or why don't you yellow button pretty much everything. Close your email. Yeah, let's find out where this news thing is that you're talking about. All right, so can you show us, does the problem exist right now? Okay, but where would it be? Move your mouse around where it would normally be. This problematic news feed thing that you're talking about, some sort of. Oh, okay. That's okay. Let's try something. Let's do a couple things just to kind of preventative maintenance. Go to System Preferences down in the dock. That's your gear switch. Yep. And let's go to your account. It's going to say something like users and groups. And let's make sure that nothing's running in the background that we don't want running. So go to accounts, which is the fourth line, first item. And you're going to go to startup items. Login items, I should say. there's a button next to the word password that says login items. Select login items. Okay, let's take a look at what these are the things that turn on when you turn your computer on. All right, nothing in there that's relevant for us, so we can close that out. That's totally fine. Now, Danette, open up a Finder window. We're going to go dig around a little bit. So open up a Finder window either by hitting the happy face or the happy face will be fine. And we should get a Finder window. There we go. Okay. If you'll do me a favor, actually, I'll control. All right, I'm going to go to this third view here, and so I can see things a little bit better. And I'm going to go into the secret area that Apple doesn't want us to know about, and that is the library folder. I'm trying to see if I can get that to trigger. It's not going to trigger from here. Will you do me a favor? Will you hold down your Option key? Okay, what version of the operating system are you on? Let's see. I wonder if she's on something earlier than this. Or maybe you're on 10.5. Yeah, 10.6. Okay, so I don't think they had hidden it yet. And it's right there in front of me, so I'm an idiot. Okay, so we're gonna go down here and no, you can let that go now. Thank you. I thought you were up to date with some things. You're behind the times. Danette. All right, Danette, let me have the mouse. Let me control the mouse. Yeah. Let's see. We're going to go to login items. I'm looking for launch agents, launch daemons here. I don't see it. We're going to go and look at the Safari settings in a moment, but I just want to check some other things first while we're here. Let's see. I want to go to Internet Plugins, which is all right. Stretch this out for us here. Danette, will you stretch that a little bit? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, we're going to take that one, and let's see if I can do this from here. And that one, and that's enough for now. You should see a question. Oh, no, we're good. All right. Yes, I did. Yeah, those are plugins for your browser that may not be what we want to be running in the background. And I'm going to toss this out as well. Okay, put your own password in. These are places that things run in the background. These are places that a person can go to look and see what's going on in my computer in the background. There are two libraries. There's the computers. Well, there's more libraries. There's actually a system library. We won't get into that. There's a computer library, and then there's your own personal library. And those libraries are places or folders where Apple puts the engine, the software that runs the computer in the background. And all of these folders in here do different things. And I spend a large part of my day when I'm solving people's problems or trying to solve people's problems in that library folder, because this is almost always where the problems live and the problems exist. So now what I want to do is close that, and let's go take a look at Safari. And let's see if we've added any weird plugins. So we're going to go to Safari's preferences. In other words, if we accidentally installed a plugin or an extension or something. I guess they call them extensions in Safari. So let's see if we have one of these weird newscast plugins going, which we don't really want. Okay, and let's just turn that off. Okay, I don't think you're going to have to leave the meeting, but Danette, I'm going to quit Safari and restart Safari. Do you see a message that says you'll leave the meeting? Guess not. Okay, good. All right, so now we'll restart Safari, and then if the problem doesn't come back, the last thing I'll ask you to do, Danette, is actually restart your computer and then jump back online with us in a second, and we'll see if the problem has gone away. All right? It could be that there was just a window open and you didn't even know the window was open, and when you maybe quit Safari, it closed that window. It's possible that that's what happened. All right? Any crazy news going on that we can hear? Okay. Well, let's consider the problem solved, but just to make sure, why don't you leave the meeting, restart, and then you can, if you still have the problem, join back in. If not, we'll see you later. All right? Okay, come in anytime. All right, who wants to, another question, any other comments? Open it up. I don't think anybody else is new that's popped in here, so. Anybody got anything else? It's just going to be a short evening. Yeah, Joan. Joan, go ahead. This is a VGA to mini DisplayPort adapter. So what you're talking about is an adapter where you can connect one. DVI is a different type of video cable, and then you want to send it out to VGA. Well, this is VGA, and DVI looks very, very similar to it. So what you're trying to do is take an older, maybe an older laptop. I mean, I've got one that I could pull out, but I'll just pull it out right now. Give me a second here. It's just a video connector that connects an old school VGA to a newer DVI, but Apple has even trumped that. So it sounds like maybe you're trying to connect an old monitor. Well, yeah, I'm using one. Over here I have a MacBook Pro with another monitor, and this monitor is a really old monitor, and this is an old MacBook Pro. So back in the old days, the MacBook Pros pushed out this type of video, which is DVI, but I'm connecting it to an old monitor, a VGA monitor. So old to even older. Then the newer came along, something small like this. But now the one that you will use is a Thunderbolt connector that actually looks exactly like this. It's almost the exact same size as this, but this one little cable now pushes audio, video, USB, all kinds of stuff. So Thunderbolt is the future for us for now. All right, so that's VGA to DVI connector. David, did you have something happening? Yeah, okay. Uh-huh. No, they'll absolutely let you do that. Now, you mentioned that he has a Mac Pro, right? Okay, so we're going to talk about the obvious first, then we'll go into the less obvious. If he had a Mac Pro, the answer to the question would be, that, and nobody has a Mac Pro anymore almost. I mean, they might rev these in the future, I'm sure, I guess they will. But if he had one of these Mac Pros, then he could put an additional graphics card in. And that's what these bigger, gigantic computers are for a person to run multiple monitors. So he could put in another graphics card or a graphics card that had 2 video outs on it. So that's an easy fix if he has a Mac Pro. If he has a laptop and he's trying to run 2 monitors as well as the monitor that's on board the laptop, then it becomes a little bit more difficult. With Thunderbolt, you run 1 monitor out. So you're going to need, and that's 1 graphics card dedicated to the monitor, and you have an onboard graphics card dedicated to the LCD embedded on the MacBook Pro. So he's going to need either an external box that holds the graphics chip, an additional graphics chip. So he would plug that in, say, via USB, and then the USB plug is going to have another graphics card, and then that connects to the monitor. Or, and that's probably what he's going to do. If he needs to run 3 monitors total, there are these little USB. I'll tell you right now, the performance on those drops massively when you use those things. USB monitor Mac. Let's see. trying to think of what they call those things. The performance is really going to be lacking a lot. But no, Thunderbolt, I don't think Thunderbolt, I might be wrong, but I don't think Thunderbolt pushes multiple displays. Yeah, you can. So I've got multiple computers here, and the computer that I'm using right now with you guys, I've got my main monitor, and then I've got an additional monitor. So I'm using the one, I think, mini display port out to this additional monitor. If I wanted to run a third monitor, then I would need one of those additional graphics cards, like a USB external graphics card. Let me see if I can find, and like I said, the performance is really bad. As you move a window around on a Mac, on your iMac, the window's solid. You go over to your second display, you move it around, it's solid. When you take that window, or you take that object over to your third window, where it's running through the USB port with the external graphics card, it really sucks. It's no good. It's just like real clunky. No, there's only one Thunderbolt. Well, you know what? If it's a new one, I think they have multiple Thunderbolt displays. I think on the newest ones, you have multiple Thunderbolts. So no, new ones meaning right now, buying today. Like the newest ones that haven't even come out yet. They have multiple Thunderbolt ports on the back, and I think the newest MacBook Pros do as well. And those, let's see, Thunderbolt. I don't see why you couldn't run a display off of each of those Thunderbolt ports if you wanted to. Probably could. But that's the newest. These are the newest iMacs and the newest MacBook Pros. So when you're shopping in the next couple of days and you go to the store, let me see if I can find get back to, can't find where I'm at. I'm lost in Apple's store. Here we go. Then your new MacBook Pro is going to have two displays, two Thunderbolt ports, and each one of those could be a display port. Yeah, there are two Thunderbolts there. But the computer that you're talking about, David, is not going to have two Thunderbolts. And by the way, Joan, there's that slot. Go ahead, David. Yeah. No, that's fine. That's the exact same thing as what I had. It's just without the cord. So that's fine that's totally fine. The only negative thing about that is that it puts a little bit more pressure on the back because there's no flexibility. So let's say you connect, that one directly in, and then you connect this one in, and it's going to lean on a little bit. So what you might want to do, David, is if you've got that cable running out of the back of the Mac Mini, you might take some sort of object and place it right under it so that the weight doesn't pull down on the Mac Mini itself. But not a big deal. Those are fine. All right. All right. Awesome. You're well on your way. Looks like we got Emma Day coming in, so we'll wait for her. While Emma Day pops in, anybody else want to jump in? Another question, comment? Well, it's interesting. I asked everybody this question last week, and I got a very interesting answer. I'm going to ask the same question today. For those of you who've seen the Mac Mini, I'm sorry, the iPad Mini. I've got that Mac Mini on my mind. The iPad Mini. Of the people that are in here right now, how many of you would be interested in buying one? Maybe. Well, and I asked the same question. I got the same answer last week. Apple has a way of building things that we start to lust after. Let me ask this question. How many people in this room right now have the iPhone 5? All right. as soon as I walked in the door with it, another member of my family decided that they thought that they needed to have it. So I still have the 4S, and somebody else has appropriated the 5, which I'm happy to do. So anyway, I think it's going to sell like crazy, and I think that everybody in the world, including everybody in this room, will have one eventually, probably, whether we know it or not. You know, I think. I mean, you know, it's got an Apple on it, and Apple can't go wrong right now. People buy everything Apple. David is going to be a top salesman with Apple one day. I'll tell you what, David, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, my friend. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. You know what that means? Do you know what that means, David? Drinking the Kool-Aid? Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, he's right. Apple does a great job of marketing. You know, I want every iPod they make. Do I need every iPod they make? No. I still have the original iPad. I still have just the first one. I don't have the 2 or the 3 or the, yeah. I'll tell you the thing that really surprised me, really surprised me this past week was that they killed the 3rd generation iPad so quickly. That they updated it, and they didn't just update it with the connector, they updated it with this faster A6 processor. So those of us, or I should say those of you or anybody out there that bought the 3 and they revved it on after only 6 months, I get that question so often. A person will buy they'll buy the iPad mini tomorrow, and then they'll say, well, how soon is it going to be before they change this? And I usually say, don't worry about it. It's going to be at least another year, sometimes longer. They really switched up on this iPad 3, and in my opinion, it did a little bit of damage to the revision reputation. Normally, you can almost always count on a year of the product being out there, and they really changed that. But they kind of had to, because they couldn't sell their top flagship iPad with the old connector if they're trying to push this connector. So they had to rev that, but while they revved it, they actually revved it with a much faster processor. And there are a lot of specs, and David, you probably know this, there are a lot of tech sites out there that rated the iPad 3 or the 3rd iPad as actually being a little bit slower performing than the 2nd generation iPad too, for a lot of reasons. But anyway, this new iPad is supposed to be really fast. No, I'm talking about the 4th generation iPad. Yeah, I haven't. I don't know, when are they shipping that? What's that, Daryl? Let's see. Yeah, let's see. iPad. Got the release on it. Yeah, so they really changed up on it. Available in 1 week, it says. So, yeah. All right. Well, anybody else? Oh, say that again, Joanne. No, they have. Well, yeah, both of them are being re-released, or I should say, the iPad Mini is being released. What's the ship date on that? In about a week or so. The iPad 2 is still available. The iPad 3, let's call it, is gone, and they've replaced it with the iPad with Retina display. So they really have 2 products. Most of us are not going to buy the iPad 2. We're either going to buy the regular size iPad or the smaller iPad Mini, and many of us will have both eventually. I guarantee it. We'll all. Yeah, it's the same size, the 10-inch. Basically, there's a 7.9-inch iPad Mini, and then the 10-inch iPad, regular iPad. So, yeah, there's a nice little chart here comparing iPad models. You can go and look at the breakdowns, but the iPad 2 is sitting here for education market. That's really the only reason that's still here, is they can sell this to schools at a lower cost. You know, but a regular consumer, most consumers are not going to walk into the store and buy an older 2 generations ago iPad. They're going to either buy a mini or they're going to buy the regular top-end iPad. Let's go to Imade, who just popped in. Imade, how are you this evening? Let's give Imade some. You have something on your mind? Okay, let's jump over to your screen, and I'm going to ask for you to show your screen and for me to control it. So when you see that, press it, and let's see if we can figure out what's going on. The top and the bottom. Do you have... I think you have a second display, right? You have 2 displays. You have your and I think most of the time you keep your laptop closed and you use your other display. Is that right? Okay. So when you get that message, hit to show your screen and we'll be able to see it. I think I know what's going on. So if I'm saying this right, I think that what you're telling me, Imade, is that your menu bar across the top is gone and your dock at the bottom is gone. Is that correct? Okay. Move your mouse for me. Let me ask you this. Do you see your address book open right now? Okay. But you cannot see the menu bar going across the top. Is that right? Move your mouse all the way to the top of your screen and click on the word Go to Meeting. Okay, so you can see the menu bar at the top. You see that. What is this? I'm not understanding the problem. Okay. All right, so we're talking about, I think, 2 separate problems here. We're talking about a Wi-Fi connection issue, and we're talking about a display issue. Is that right? Okay. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Can you see your dock at the very bottom, and can you open up system preferences if you do see your dock? Can't see your dock. That's what I'm talking about, your dock. So click on the system preferences. You can see that. Okay, I think I might know what's going on. Go to displays. It's the second row, second item. I wonder if she's got mirroring turned on and she's looking at an external monitor. Detect displays. It looks like you only have the 1 display going on right now. 1152 by 864. Let's try... Yeah, that's okay. So let's go back to that display set over there. Yeah. So if I'm thinking correctly, Imade, you have your laptop sitting on a desk and it's closed right now, right? And that laptop is connected to an external monitor, right? Okay. I'm wondering that if we change this resolution here, if your monitor will come back to a size that you're happy with. So right now you're at 1152 by 864. We're going to change that size, but here's the thing, Imade. When we do this, sometimes we change the size of the external display to a size that the external display doesn't understand, and what will happen is that the external display will go blank. It'll go, what's going on? And it'll just go black. If that happens, if we get ourselves into this situation, Imade, what we'll need to do is open your other laptop. But before we do that, let's try. So go to the one right above it where it says 1280 by 768, and let's give that a shot. Okay, so let's change that, hit OK. All right, your screen may have gone black just now. Okay, is that better or worse? Well, it went ahead and reverted back because it gives us about 15 seconds to change it. So, and the reason it does that, Emma Day, before you go click anything, don't click anything else yet. The reason it does that is because if you give it a signal of the wrong, if we said 800 by 600, but that display can't handle it, when it goes black, if you don't do anything, 15 seconds later, it'll go back to the way it was. So that's a real nice little safety precaution. So when we click 1280 by 768, that didn't solve your problem, is that correct? All right, let's try 1024 by 768, the one below it. So you're going to see a change in your screen. The size of your screen is going to change. Okay? And is that better or worse? Okay, then just you're saying it's just black? Okay, then I'm going to kick it back because actually everybody in here, I can control her machine. Okay, is it back to your normal? Okay, so for everybody listening, we can see things that she can't. If she changes that display, we can still see it through GoToMeeting, but she can't. Well, let's kick it back up here to 1280 by 768. So click that, Emma Day, and take a look at the screen and see if this is correct or not correct. Well, does that look correct to you, or is that wrong? Okay, so you know what it could be. It's most likely the actual settings on the display itself, Emma Day. You have an Acer monitor, and on that Acer monitor, there are these buttons on the side, probably, or maybe on the bottom. And those buttons give you the ability to stretch the image or move the image up and down. So in other words, the Mac doesn't have anything to do with that. It's the settings on the monitor that I'm guessing are what's kind of messed up. So well, I'm going to set it back to what you had it on because you probably did not change this. So I'm going to put it back to the way it is. And most likely you have either shifted the monitor up, the picture on the monitor, or you've moved it down, or you've stretched it. And there are settings on that Acer for you to be able to do that. If you need me to, I can. That's not the thing I can help you with over our meeting tonight because that's the kind of thing you physically. Okay, I'd be happy to try to help you with that. All right, all right. Let's see. We got everybody's in still. We have a few minutes left. Anybody want to jump in? Say that again, Joan. All right. Well, when you buy a new Mac, Apple has a recycling program that gives you the ability to send that old Mac in to be recycled. If do you think, besides the data, because I know you're going to be concerned about, will somebody be able to get to my data? We'll talk about that in a second. But do you have any young grandkids that you want to give an older computer to? Um, does it work? Oh, like it maxes out. Is it white or silver? Uh, well, if you don't have anyone that you want to give it to, you could donate it. If you took it to Goodwill, somebody would love to have that. The problem with Goodwill, I mean, I shop at these, thrift stores all the time and things. Problem is there are a lot of people like myself that walk into a Goodwill and they see that something is worth a lot of money and it might be $25 and they buy it. So a lot of times the people that really need it don't end up aren't able to get it. If you have a church you could donate it through, a lot of churches have outreach programs. You can't just walk into a public school and say, hey, could you find a needy kid and give this to? Although that's really what needs to happen. If you could give it away, you give it to somebody who needs it, or who would make use of it. But if you wanted to recycle it, I don't suggest you recycle it if it's working. and you could give it to somebody. But you could take it to Goodwill. They would love to have it. Say that again. Who said? Yeah, so that's the second part of this conversation is how do we get our personal data off? Well, there's a real quick and easy short way to do that. And Joan, when you're ready to do this, here's a real quick brief tutorial on how to do it. And remember, this is being recorded, so if I go too fast, you can go back into the GoToMeeting. I mean, you can go back into the town hall meeting and look at it. So what you'll do is when you're ready to erase all of your personal information, you're going to go to System Preferences, Users, or Accounts. If it's an old operating system, it might be called Accounts. And you're going to create a new account. And you're going to call it Admin. Now, in this case, this computer, I only have one called Admin. So you're not going to have an admin user, so you're going to create an admin user. You can call it Administrator, anything like that. It doesn't really matter. You could just say Person if you want it. But when you create that, it's going to ask you for a password. Now, the way to do that is first, I have to unlock my computer. And I'm going to hit the plus sign down here to create a new user. When I create that new user, I need to make it an administrator. So I'm going to say administrator. And I'm going to call it new user in this case. Now, for the password, I am not going to include a password because I'm giving this away and they don't know what the password is. So I'm going to put in the hint, no password, leave blank. All right? And I create that user. Now, once I've created that user, it might say, are you sure you want to create a new user with no password? Yes, that's fine. So I'm going to create a new user. Now, after this closes, I'm going to have two users. I'm going to have the one that I've lived in my whole life, and I'm going to have a new user. Now, I'm going to go up to the Black Apple, and I'm going to log out of my current user, which I'm not going to do right now. I'm going to log out of that user, and I'm going to be presented with the ability to log into the other user. Once I log into the other user, in this case called new user, then I'm going to delete the admin user. So, in other words, I'm going to log in, go to System Preferences. The new user is going to be at the top. The old user is going to be at the bottom, and it's going to be grayed out. And I'm going to hit the minus key, and it's going to say, are you sure you want to delete that user? Yes, I want to delete the old user. And it's gone. So that old user is completely wiped out. And the new user you are left with is just a standard user. It's going to have the apps. It's going to have Microsoft Office left on there. It's going to have Pages and Numbers and Keynote and any of the stuff that you've added in the past, but it's not going to have your personal information. So essentially what's happening here, Joan, is when you do that, you're deleting this folder, your home folder. And if you've been a good citizen, all the stuff that's personal to you is inside your house. Now, one more thing that wouldn't be a bad idea to do is to open up your computer and just take a look at any random files. Now, I'm a good citizen. I don't have random files laying around. I don't have just some random piece of junk laying somewhere in my hard drive. So, like that. You don't want that. That shouldn't be there. You see where I'm at? Macintosh HD, and you should have those folders: applications, library, system, users, really. If you have any weird stuff sitting in there, you need to get rid of it. Like that doesn't belong there. That's a piece of my own personal information. You need to get rid of that. And most likely you don't. All right? So essentially, Joan, what you're doing is you're creating a new user, logging into the new user, and from that new user, deleting the other user. All right? Okay. Yeah, anytime you guys want, if I go too fast on anything, if you go to my site and you go to previous town halls, every town hall that we do, I now record. I think I've got a pretty good system. Hopefully, it's getting a little bit better. And you can go and look over any of that stuff. So if I answer a little bit too a little bit too quickly. All right? Okay. Anybody else want to jump in? Another question? Comment? Probably, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the future. You know, we've talked about this. I think I've even had this conversation with you, David. The future is, you know, all of us in the meeting, except for you, we all grew up with books in our hands. And you have been in school with books in your hands, but by the time you're in high school, you won't have books in your hands. You're old enough right now. What grade are you in? Okay. Yeah, and that's gonna. And by the time you're a senior in high school, I don't think there'll be textbooks around. Have you ever looked up anything in the Encyclopedia Britannica, David? Do you even know what the Encyclopedia Britannica is? All right, guys, I just got a notification. I've got to run here. I've got to cut this short. Thanks for everybody coming in. So I'm going to break out, and I will talk to you guys next week. All right. All right. Thanks for joining us. Bye.